Oh, hi, Antoinette. Thank you very much. Of course, to the Secretary General, Dr. Iki Moktan of the Asian Productivity Organization. We have Dr. Lotis Mapera of the University of the Philippines Los Baños Institute of Food Science and Technology. We have Mr. Toby Tamayo, Lotus Valley Farms owner and environment consultant of the local government unit of La Union. Ms. Pia Faustino, Director for Social Impact and Special Projects, Thinking Machines. We have Ms. Diana Rose Adili, Associate Director of Climate Change and Sustainability Services of SBG and Company. Mr. Johan Kim, our moderator for today and country representative of Global Green Growth Institute. Of course, we have also Executive Director Pauline Suaco Juan of SITEM and the rest of the SITEM team. To all our viewers, participants, and friends, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po. We are now on the second day of the SSX conference where we will be focusing on food track, specifically food systems for tomorrow. Today's keynote speakers and panelists will talk about key areas in supporting sustainable consumption and production, as well as opportunities and challenges to solutions and systems in practice. But first of all, how exactly do we live sustainably? What has influenced us? When we go shopping, for instance, are we willing to choose green products even if it means a higher cost? Or do we settle with the single-use ones that could be easily disposed of and are significantly cheaper? This COVID-19 pandemic has caused work and financial insecurities for many of us, but it has also heightened the ethical and environmental consciousness of consumers when shopping. We have recent researches that show that 74% of Filipino shoppers are willing to invest and support brands that promote a sustainable lifestyle, while more than half of Filipino households at 54% practice eco activities. We also understand that sustainability is slowly becoming a turning point for the Filipino consumer to further preserve the resources that we have now for the future. And with the way the current road of sustainability is going, this will likely alter consumer behavior permanently, which means that manufacturers and retailers must be agile enough to refocus and remain relevant. This is, of course, very good news for our future generations. However, many Filipino consumers have yet to fully grasp the concept and adopt sustainable consumption as a lifestyle. We in the DTI Consumer Protection Group remind consumers of their responsibility to become more aware of the impact of their consumption on the environment, but this information does not immediately lead to a change in behavior, since affordability of a product and service is still a priority for most consumers over sustainability and quality. We need to be relentless in our efforts to educate not only the consumer, but businesses as well. We currently have the Philippine Action Plan for Sustainable Consumption and Production that serves as a guiding framework to encourage and influence sustainable behavior and practices across all sectors and levels of government through the implementation of program policy reforms. This will facilitate and contribute to achieving the ambition natin 2040 that aims to have a matatag, maginhawa, at panatag na buhay for every Filipino. Of course, today's topic is food, and we also understand that many are not as privileged to have access to food as a basic commodity. This is one of the very important consumer rights that we have, a right to basic needs, which is the right that guarantees survival, clothing, shelter, healthcare, education, sanitation, and most importantly, adequate food. The population of the Philippines stands at roughly 110 million, about 27 million of which live below the poverty line. We have 13.5 million of the economically poor that are unable to eat 3 times a day, with 2.7 million families experiencing involuntary hunger at least once in the past 3 months. In relation to this, I'd like to mention that we also have the Interagency Task Force addressing zero hunger in the country. We also note that there is a gap between the amount of food that we are able to supply and produce and the demand which this supply should be able to address. A huge portion of this problem lies in the traditional consumption and production processes that have already been established in our economy. We also have food waste, which is a big issue that we need to urgently address in our efforts to curb hunger in the country. We are all aware of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that serves as guide for the DTI Consumer Protection Group in practicing sustainability, specifically Sustainable Development Goal number 12, or responsible production and consumption. We continuously advocate this to consumers so that we can increase awareness. By doing more and better with less, keeping the sustainable consumption and production in mind helps decouple economic growth from environmental degradation. It also increases resource efficiency and promotes sustainable lifestyle. The DTI CPG's end goal of consumption and production remains to be a lifelong commitment to sustainable development. We have food security, which is a task for everyone. And in order for us to secure our food supply, we need to be resourceful with what we eat and consume in order for these supplies to not go to waste. Another way to meet food security is improving the efficiency in the production of goods. This is one way of ensuring that the manufacturing process is also cleaner and more sustainable. In adopting all this, it will eventually be what is called a circular economy, which means that materials and goods constantly flow around a closed loop system rather than just being used once and disposed right away. Food will always be a means to sustain an individual, all of us. So similar to other common goods, these should be sustained and not go to waste. We have initiatives, the Philippine government has initiatives in mitigating food insecurity and sustainability. We have in the DTI, we have been working closely together with the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Health in ensuring continuous supply of basic food and medicine. We have a list of the most basic manufactured food products that we ensure to be available, accessible, and affordable to our consumers, especially those in low-income families. Prices of these products are kept low, and increases are calibrated by our Consumer Policy and Advocacy Bureau with the full support and cooperation of our manufacturers and retailers. We make sure that supply meets the demand so that we can prevent prices from soaring. We have projects like the Presyo Razonable Dapat or the PRD program, as well as the Discuento Caravan of the DTI, where basic manufactured and agricultural products are made available at lower prices compared to those in public markets and retail establishments. And this event, today's event, organized by the Center for International Expositions and Missions, will be the first ever conference that will focus on the Philippines food and lifestyle sector. This conference will highlight the relevant solutions and technologies and also aims to champion local manufacturers and producers that adhere to green and sustainable practices. The event will feature exhibitions where participants will be able to explore solutions and advocacies on food and lifestyle, especially. We have the conference proper where the keynote presentation will be presented and business matching and special sessions, which include networking. We will cover today sustainability trends for the future of food. We have food origins and ecological balance. We have behind the food we eat. And we also have learn from Ilan, the champion of circular food system. I am, of course, very hopeful that this conference will help us improve our food supply chain through sustainable means. I also hope that with this conference, we will be able to increase production of sustainable consumer goods, just like aligned with the Native American proverb that says, "We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors; we borrow it from our children." And so we encourage everyone to let this be a reminder that living sustainably will allow our planet to serve its purpose for future generations, not just to use, but also to enjoy as we do now. Maraming salamat po. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat.